So it looks like Candace Owens no longer will be covering the Diddy lawsuit. Evidently, there's some connection with Diddy and apparently Michael Jackson being unalived. It's pretty scandalous, but let's hear what Candace has to say about this.
All right, so I wasn't kidding at the top, guys. I am probably not going to cover this anymore because it is definitely getting a bit terrifying. Obviously, we covered this. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. I believe it was Monday's episode. But yes, the Diddy lawsuit is absolutely crazy. Full stop. What if I told you guys that it is about to get even crazier, that there is directly a link to Michael Jackson's death? I want to be clear that when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, the lawsuits, his death, I thought that we were in full conspiracy theory territory when people were saying that Michael Jackson was killed. I actually know a lot of people that are in the industry who believe that Michael Jackson was killed, and I just thought it just sounds too whacked out to believe that somebody intentionally killed Michael Jackson. Of course, why would they do that? And also, I was believing the media. The media was extensively saying every single day that he was a pedophile, even though he factually won his case. I allowed my image of Michael Jackson certainly to be corroded by the media throughout that time period. I will fully confess that. Now, I want to remind you, before we get back into Michael Jackson, what we learned in the Diddy documents, just to very quickly recap. Well, if you read through them, again, these are all allegations, but you will come out of it understanding that there is allegedly some sort of a blackmail ring that is operating throughout Hollywood, and that artists that are producing music are actually being controlled via being induced into drugs at parties, and then what takes place is they're being recorded, and sometimes they're being recorded while they are in committing sexual acts with minors. And something that we also saw in these docs is that these parties, at least a lot of them, are taking place in the Virgin Islands, which again just makes you go, what's happening here? Because Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, his home, or he owned an island that was just off the coast of St. Thomas. So we hear that again. I also am jogging your memory about the Bitcoin millionaire who, right before his death, found drowned, accidental drowning, even though he was fully clothed and had his wallet in his pocket, tweeted that the CIA and the Mossad were running a blackmail ring in the Virgin Islands. Something else that we learned in the Diddy lawsuit was that the media and the authorities are complicit. So the ring has real power, not imagined power. Again, I am using the word alleged because this person, despite having, video evidence and he has presented photographic evidence, this has not yet gone through the court system. And so we can't say that it's entirely true. And I'd say the biggest point that we took away from these Diddy docs was that this ring, if you believe it exists, can and will murder people to protect themselves. And he intimated this event that happened allegedly at a recording studio where Diddy and his son allegedly shot someone, and it was covered up by the LAPD and then the media. All right, so within those docs, and this is where it gets relevant, there is one man that is named as being the person that can do the cleanups, right? This is the guy that you are supposed to call if you get into any sort of a scenario. So in these docs, it says, Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad, that is Fahim Muhammad, if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. And upon information and belief, this is regarding the shooting that took place at Chalice Recording Studios. Again, he is alleging that Diddy and his son shot someone. And after that shooting, the documents say explicitly that Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at the recording studio. The LAPD was in the recording studio and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. So again, what we are seeing there is that you call this guy and this guy will make it disappear, and the media will report whatever the incident is in a capacity that covers up the crime, allegedly. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The cleanup guy, Mr. Fahim Muhammad, was also on the scene when Michael Jackson died. So I want to introduce you to and allow you to listen to Ian Carroll. He's an independent journalist that is investigating everything that is going on, and he explains that connection that Fahim has with Michael Jackson. Take a listen.
So this new lawsuit just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry for basically 30 years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died. And before we go to Michael Jackson, the most important part of the Diddy case to bring across is the fact that the record executives at the very top knew what P. Diddy was doing. They were attending the parties with underage girls where they were spiking drinks. They were deeply involved in Diddy's personal life, and all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least turning a blind eye to it.
So yes, this is obviously huge. It's also potentially terrifying. And now, if you want to be rational and use the rational side of your brain, you just go, okay, well, this could just be a coincidence, right? Like Fahim Muhammad, he is in security. And yes, he obviously is high up in security. He was providing security to Michael Jackson. He happened to die on his watch. Big deal, right? Big deal. Well, I think that would lead us to the question of who exactly is Fahim Muhammad, because that's kind of a big first job to have. You're 21 years old and you're protecting the king of pop. What exactly are his qualifications? Let's go back to Ian Carroll and his reporting.
And now, here's the best part. Check this out. This is in all of his bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor, apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time?
So let's recap, rewind. So a 21-year-old who had just graduated from college with a bachelor's in business administration is not only head of security for Puff Daddy, but also had been head of security for Michael Jackson. Mind you, he's also referred to as the cleanup guy. Whoa. Let's continue with this, guys.
Yeah, that is remarkably suspicious. And if we had a media that was interested in actually presenting the truth and not just propagandizing on behalf of the state, they would probably explore and look deeper into who this character is. But of course, that's not what the media does. Instead, they are meant to convince people of certain narratives. And like I said in the past, I've been a victim to that. I was obviously very young when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, and I believed the media, which is why I was kind of stunned to kind of go back and revisit the Michael Jackson case.
To say that things are pretty hot around Diddy, the details of this lawsuit are pretty scandalous, and I wouldn't doubt there's more to find out as we go further with this. Pretty scandalous. If you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more, please feel free. I encourage you guys to subscribe, follow, and share for more. Take care.